Have you ever sat quietly, watching the sunset slowly fade, and wondered to yourself, one day, when I am no longer here, what will happen? That question comes to everyone sooner or later, but most of us tend to avoid it because even hearing the word death makes our hearts tremble. We are afraid of losing, afraid of disappearing, afraid of leaving behind the people we love. Yet, there was once a man who actually crossed the boundary between life and death and came back to tell us what he saw on the other side. His name was George G. Ritchie, the author of the famous book Return from Tomorrow, also known as Return from the Light. He was a young army officer during World War II. In 1943, while being treated for severe pneumonia, doctors officially pronounced him clinically dead. His heart stopped beating. His body grew cold, but his spirit remained, awake, conscious, and beginning a journey he would later call the encounter with the light. That experience completely changed the way he saw life, death, and the true meaning of love. And from that journey, he said a sentence that has changed how millions of people look at death. Death is not as frightening as we think. In this video, we will follow that journey, not to discuss religion or theology, but to listen to the story of a man who saw, who felt, and who came back to say, beyond death, there is not darkness, but light. That night, in the silence of a military hospital room, George Ritchie lay motionless. His breathing stopped. His heart no longer beat. A young doctor leaned over, gently shook his head, and pulled the white sheet over his face. But just at the moment when everyone thought he was gone forever, Ritchie woke up in another world. He said he suddenly found himself standing, completely alert, stronger than ever before. The heavy feeling was gone. The pain in his chest had vanished. He looked around the room and froze when he saw his body still lying there, motionless under the white sheet. In that instant, he realized something extraordinary. He was still himself. He could still think, still feel, still observe everything. Only now he was no longer inside that body. Ritchie tried to talk to the nurse, but she could not hear him. He walked toward the window and discovered that he could pass right through the wall. There was no more weight, no limits of space or time. Everything became as light as mist, yet clearer than ever before. And instead of fear, he felt peace. There was no darkness, no pain, no screams, as people often imagine when death comes. Only a deep sense of relief, as if he had just taken off a heavy coat he had been wearing for far too long. He said, "I was no longer afraid. I simply felt that I had stepped into another world, one that was more real, brighter, and filled with life." That was the first moment George Ritchie understood. Death is not an ending, but a continuation, a kind of rebirth, only without the body. In that misty space, while Ritchie was still amazed that he could exist outside of his body, suddenly, a beam of light appeared in the distance. It was not the kind of blinding light that forces you to close your eyes, but a gentle, warm glow, like a sun radiating from someone's heart. It did not just light up the room. It seemed to shine directly into his soul. The light moved closer, and the closer it came, the more Ritchie felt an endless, boundless energy of love, deeper than anything he had ever known. There were no words, no sounds, only the presence of pure, all-encompassing love. He wrote, "I'd never felt love like that before. It did not ask who I was, did not mention my mistakes or my achievements. That light simply loved me, completely, unconditionally." And in that moment, he realized, What he was facing was not a physical light, but a being of light, a source of infinite love. Something many would call God, or simply pure love itself. That feeling cannot truly be described in words. It is when you feel completely understood. Every hidden corner, every flaw, every secret you never dared to speak. And yet you are still loved, still embraced, as if that being was saying, "I know everything about you, and I still love you." There was no more fear, no more questions in his mind, only gratitude, peace, and a quiet joy deeper than anything he had ever known. George Ritchie stood within that light and realized, if death leads us to this love, then it is nothing to be afraid of. Within that radiant glow, Ritchie suddenly saw his entire life unfold before him, like a movie playing from beginning to end. Not a single moment was missing. Every action, every thought, every feeling appeared vividly, clearer than memory itself. He saw his childhood, the days when he was a mischievous boy who often made his mother sad. He saw his young adult years, the times when pride and ego had caused pain to others, things he thought he had forgotten, small moments he once dismissed. All appeared in perfect clarity, as if an invisible hand was turning the pages of his life one by one. But what amazed him most was this. There was no judgment, no one accusing him, no stern voice condemning him, only the light still surrounding him with gentle love. And it was that very love that helped him see everything he had ever done, not through reason, but through the heart. He said, "When I saw a moment where I had hurt someone, I felt their pain myself. Not as an observer, but as if I were that person, suffering because of my own actions." And when he saw the moments where he had helped others, a warm, flowing feeling, like water moving through his heart, filled him completely. Not pride, but the pure joy of a soul sharing love. In that moment, he understood. There is no God judging us with anger. There is only the truth of love shining upon us so that we may see who we truly are. No one punishes us, he said. It is our own soul, when standing before the light of love, that sees everything clearly. He realized that the only thing truly measured after death was not status, fame, or wealth, but how much we have loved and how many lives our love has touched. When the film of his life came to an end, George Ritchie stood still in the light. There were no more images, no more memories. Only a deep awareness resonated within him, not through words, but through a question that seemed to echo to the very core of his soul. Have you learned how to love? No one spoke those words aloud, but Ritchie understood. That was the greatest meaning of every human life. Not, how successful have you been? Not, what position did you hold? But rather, how well have you loved? He realized that everything we accumulate in life, money, fame, titles, all of it disappears the moment we leave the body. The only thing that remains is what we have given from the heart. A hug, a comforting word, a simple act of kindness. Every one of those small gestures is recorded, not on paper, but in the light of the soul. When we die, Ritchie said, only two things remain: love or the absence of love, that we have lived. And he understood that the world beyond is not a place where we are judged, but a place where we see ourselves through the eyes of love. After that moment, George Ritchie was led through many different realms, worlds he had never imagined. They were not golden heavens or fiery hells, but levels of energy that reflected the state of the human soul. He saw spirits still wandering near the earthly world, clinging to their old habits, alcohol, money, power, or desire. They were not being punished. They simply did not realize they had already left their bodies. They tried to drink, to grab, to feel again what they once had. But they could not touch any of it, for they had become souls, no longer part of the physical world. Seeing them, Ritchie understood. What makes a soul suffer is not judgment, but the refusal to let go. Then he was taken to another place, a realm filled with light where souls shone softly like mist. There were no voices there, yet every soul understood one another through the pure energy of love. There was no desire, no fear, only joy and absolute peace. The light was still there, patient, gentle, waiting. It did not push anyone away. It did not punish. It simply shone quietly as if saying, "No matter how far you wander, I am here. When you are ready, I will bring you home." And when he saw this, Ritchie understood. No one is abandoned. No soul is ever forgotten. Each one is simply on their own journey of learning how to love. The world beyond is not frightening, he wrote. The only thing to fear is living without knowing how to love. From that moment, all fear of death within him completely disappeared, because he knew that death is only a doorway, and beyond that doorway there is not darkness, but light. While George Ritchie was still immersed in that radiant light, a place without time or distance, he heard a voice calling, distant yet near, a sound pulling him gently back toward reality. It was the voice of a doctor, still trying to revive him on the hospital bed. And in that instant, he clearly felt his soul returning to his body. The feeling was not pleasant, as if he were forcing himself back into a tight, heavy coat he had outgrown. His body felt weak, cold, and heavy. But at the same time, something new ignited within his heart. He knew that he had just returned from the light. When he opened his eyes, everything around him was just as before. The white hospital lights, the smell of antiseptic, the hurried footsteps echoing down the hallway. But to him, the world had changed. Everything had become alive, sacred. The gaze of a nurse, a trembling hand holding a cup of water, the sound of wind whispering through the window. All carried a beauty he had never seen before. From that day on, Ritchie never lived the same way again. He was no longer afraid of death. He no longer saw life as a race to prove anything. Instead, he lived to love more, to give thanks more. "I came back," he said, "to tell everyone this. We do not die. We simply move from one world to another." And from that moment, he devoted his life to telling humanity that the light he saw still exists within every one of us. After returning from the light, George Ritchie was no longer the man he used to be. He no longer lived chasing success or recognition. He lived as someone who had truly seen the light of life, the light of love. He shared his experience not to convince or prove, but to help people feel less afraid, less confused about death. He said that when we understand what death really is, we finally learn how to live. "It is not death that we should fear," he wrote, "but living without love, living without knowing why we were born." If you have ever felt afraid thinking about your final moment, remember this. No one truly disappears. The people you love are not gone. They have simply gone ahead of you to another world where light and love still continue. When you truly love someone, that love never dies. It simply changes form, from a hug a smile, a hand in yours, into a gentle energy that surrounds you always. And one day, when you too walk through that doorway, you will see them, smiling with open arms, waiting to welcome you home. Death, it turns out, is not a separation, but a reunion. A homecoming of the soul to a place with no tears, no fear, only light and love. So, from this day forward, slow down a little. Look at the people beside you a little longer. Say words of love while you still can. Because one day, when you close your eyes and walk through that doorway, the only thing that will remain within you will be the love you have given. And perhaps, somewhere beyond, the people you once loved are still smiling, still waiting for you in that light.